unification, Evander Holyfield at long last versus Lennox Lewis. Now let's turn our attention to tonight's live boxing here on Boxing After Dark, a doubleheader of fights. The first one, the light heavyweight world championship fight, in which Reggie Johnson will defend his title against Will Taylor. It's an audition of sorts, with both men looking for a shot at the man who holds the other two light heavyweight championships and is clearly the people's champion of the division, Roy Jones Jr. So Roy, as you sit at ringside and call the fight, what will either Reggie Johnson or Will Taylor have to do to earn a shot at Roy Jones?
Well, first of all, they will both have to take care of the matter at hand. They have one another to deal with tonight. They can't really be worried about Roy Jones because Roy Jones is not worried about either of them. Roy Jones has nothing to do with what goes on tonight. But on the other hand, they could try to impress the crowd, make the fans demand to see Roy Jones versus the winner. If they can look that impressive, I'm sure everybody will want to see the fight. And of course, you know Roy Jones will make it happen.
All right, so we'll see if you can impress, if they can impress the audience out there and make it an imperative fight. And that's the man in the spotlight, Reggie Johnson, with Larry Merchant. A closer look.
Reggie Johnson is one of the few men in recent times to hold both the middle and light heavyweight titles, along with Roy Jones, Tommy Hearns, and Dick Tiger. 4 of his 5 losses were in championship fights by split decisions.
And across the ring, a man who has had a tougher path to tonight's battle, Will Taylor.
He did have an amateur career, but it was interrupted by 7 years in prison of 3 different sentences. He's turned pro then at the age of 25, nicknamed Stretch, not because he's played a stretch in jail, or even because he's a tall light heavyweight, but because of his brother, who apparently stretched some folks in his time.
So as the fighters warm up to face each other, Johnson, the southpaw, against Taylor, the exceptionally tall, conventional fighter. You look at the tail of the tape, they're both past 30 years of age, veterans. You see the 5-inch height advantage for Taylor, who measured out at 6'3", very tall for a light heavy. 5-inch reach advantage for Taylor as well. They both weighed in a couple pounds under the limit. Taylor has gained more coming into tonight's fight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Reggie Johnson-Will Taylor fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. Jim, the most important aspect tonight of the rules is that the state of Florida is not involved. The Miccosukee Indians have declared themselves a sovereign nation and have formed their own boxing commission headed up by former Florida Executive Director Don Hazelton. The Miccosukee Commission will be responsible for everything: the ambulance, the officials, post-fight urine tests, the doctors, and checking the backgrounds of all the fighters. Back to you, Jim.
All right, thank you, Harold. Now let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Miccosukee Indian Gaming, located on the Miccosukee Indian Reservation of South Florida, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated with Cedric Kushner Promotions present World Championship Boxing, sanctioned by the Miccosukee Athletic Commission, Chairman Billy Cypress. This first bout is also sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation, President Robert W. Lee, IBF Supervisor at ringside, Darrell Peoples. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system will be Kassan Cheeks, Mark Streisand, and Peter Trimatera. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Max Parker Jr. And now, Cedric Kushner Promotions present 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with white and weighing in at 173 pounds. He stands 6'3" and comes to us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Champs Gym in North Philly, to be exact, with a professional record consisting of 16 bouts with 15 victories, 11 by knockout, with only 1 loss. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the challenger, Will Stretch You Taylor. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white, trimmed with blue, and weighing 172 pounds. In his professional career, he has 38 victories, 24 of those by knockout with 5 losses and 1 draw. And he has captured 2 world titles. Ladies and gentlemen, from Houston, Texas, presenting the 2-time world champion and reigning and defending IBF light heavyweight champion of the world, Sweet Reggie Johnson.
Let's go, Reggie. Let's go, Reggie. Reggie. Let's go. Gentlemen, this bout is for the IPF title. You both know the rules to this point here in the bout. You both obey my every command. Wish you both luck. Touch gloves. Come out, box down belt.
Reggie Johnson says that Roy is the man and I want to fight the man. He's got to fight another man to get a shot at the man.
And he's got to fight a Philadelphia fighter trained by the excellent Bowie Fisher. This is no bolt out of the blue that Will Taylor gets a title shot. He has been nurtured in some of the toughest gyms in Philly, is trained by an outstanding trainer, and should be able to hang in at least for a while. Bowie Fisher. This is no bolt out of the blue that Will Taylor gets a title shot. He has been nurtured in some of the toughest gyms in Philly, is trained by an outstanding trainer, and should be able to hang in at least for a while against Johnson, who as a middleweight was a terrific technician, and as a light heavyweight has shown flashes of punching power, notably the stirring one-punch knockout of Guthrie.
And he's trying to go out here and find out, can he land one to get rid of Will right quick.
Logic says when you have a southpaw shorter going against a taller conventional fighter, he's going to try to get to the body at some point.
Yeah, he'll have to work the body eventually. But right now he's trying to see can he land that big overhand left over the top, because Will has his right hand out in front of him. And if he keeps on over a period of time, he'll probably catch Will with that overhand left.
Taylor starting a little slowly here. Likes to work behind the jab, just pawing with it now. Now he throws, and Reggie Johnson comes right back with the overhand left.
And he landed it, just like I said he would, because Will has his right hand in front of his face.
Now Johnson begins working to the body, and Taylor begins to give back in kind.
Let him go. Hands me, punch out, punch out. Hands me, punch out. Let him go, Will.
Tendency in Reggie Johnson's life and among the people around him to talk longingly about the possible chance to meet Roy Jones, but as Reggie mentioned several times in our meeting yesterday, I've got to focus on this. I'll have a live body in front of me. His name is Will Taylor, and he's going to be trying to hurt me. Part of the challenge for Johnson clearly is to stay focused opponent by opponent as he keeps trying to build the campaign for a Jones fight.
And you have to take it one fight at a time. You never can look past an opponent, because you never know what you're going to be facing.
Let him go. Break, back it up.
Just ask Tommy Morrison, who got knocked out by Michael Bent when he'd already signed a contract to fight Lennox Lewis for millions.
Yep. Will Taylor already is getting frustrated here. And it's times like this when you can tell that he doesn't have the experience that Reggie has, because Reggie hasn't landed any real big punches on him yet, but because he's not been able to hit Reggie, he's already beginning to get frustrated.
Most of Taylor's amateur boxing experience took place during his prison stints. He was on a team of fighters which would go from prison to prison, fighting what amounted to a series of away games. He says, hey, if the crowd's for Reggie, that won't bother me much.
He's also a good friend of middleweight champion Bernard Hopkins, with whom he has sparred innumerable times, both before, during, and after his prison years.
That's right. They knew each other on the street, knew each other in the youth center, knew each other in the joint, and know each other now.
Move to the left. After move to the left.
top, okay? Let's get it going.
No, it's short count. It's short count punches, okay? Don't have to worry about loading up in this thing. Just move your hands and 2 and 3s will be ready, okay? All right? No problem. No big deal in there. Yeah, give me some more. Give me some Vaseline. Vaseline? Here. Take that shirt. Take that shirt. Right there. Okay, baby, take care of business.
Not a lot of activity out of Will Taylor in round number 1, so he begins round 2 in a southpaw stance. Interesting tactical move here. See if that opens up some punching opportunities for Reggie Johnson.
Well, Reggie should be able to counter Will's jab already, I can tell, because he's throwing it in a southpaw position, and that should work to Reggie's favor. There he tried it.
It is dangerous to turn southpaw from conventional unless you are a very experienced, very skilled fighter.
Especially against the southpaw. There, Reggie tried the overhand left over the top of the jab, but it didn't work.
The reason I don't like it when a fighter does that, except momentarily, is that it conveys a message. I couldn't handle you the other way. I'm going to try something else.
Remember when Marvin Hagler did it in the first round against Ray Leonard and suggested to the judges and everyone at ringside that he had something to worry about. Hard left hand for Reggie Johnson. Johnson coming off surgery to repair a torn rotator cuff in his right shoulder. In his last title defense, he had to scrape out a 12-round decision over a tall Swedish fighter in Italy, fighting essentially with one hand most of the night, and that his left hand. Here are a lot of situations where a guy wins a fight one-handed with the lead hand, but to win it one-handed with the power hand is not always an easy thing to do.
No, it's not, because you're used to throwing that lead hand more to build up points and to frustrate your opponent to set up that power hand, but you don't throw that power hand too often. I think Reggie now is trying to set up his left hand over the top of Will Taylor's jab. And if he catches him right, we might call it the night.
Taylor in the southpaw stance throughout the second round, and frankly hasn't mounted appreciably more offense out of the southpaw stance than he did out of conventional stance in round 1. Although he is jabbing more frequently, but a lazy jab.
And that's what Reggie's waiting to try to counter, because the jab is so slow and so lazy. The only reason he can get away with that, though, is because he's 6'3" tall.
Taylor trying to step up the tempo a little bit on that jab. Lands a little short right hand inside as Johnson gets close.
Cop is certainly a little bit more imposing as a fighter than the New York Cop that you fought, Roy, but he still is unable to solve a classy fighter like Reggie Johnson.
They trade to the body to end round 2. So far, Johnson a bit of a puzzle for Will Taylor.
Reggie, very important. Very important. You pay it throw. Don't wait it, okay? Stop the southpaw, okay? Fake over left and right uppercut.
Put counter shot. All right? Oh, yeah, a little bit. Put counter shot for me. Right. Put counter shot, right? Watch with a big shot from the outside. The guy's trying to hit you with a big moving shot from the outside. Okay? So you got to keep your chin tucked in. Keep on the move. Keep on the move. Try to make him back up as much as possible, all right?
Okay. Roy, they've pressed an awful lot of ice on Taylor in his corner after 2 rounds. Does that mean anything to you?
No, I don't think it means nothing.
Stays in the southpaw stance. Now, by going to the southpaw stance, Taylor has, for the moment, stopped Reggie Johnson from moving to his own left. Johnson now moving slightly to the right as he looks for more punching opportunities with the left hand.
You think he's a natural southpaw, perhaps, from the way he's acting, Roy?
I don't know. You can't really tell yet. He's not showing exceptional power in either hand, this Taylor, so it's hard to say.
Watch your heads and close. Watch your heads and close.
His jab, southpaw jab, is about as good as his orthodox jab, so it's very difficult to say if he's truly a left-handed fighter or not. Maybe he feels this is safest against the shorter Reggie Johnson.
Do you think that he's doing it to try to create more punching opportunities for himself? Johnson comes away holding his cup. No low blow ruled by referee Max Parker Jr. You think he's doing it to try to create more punching opportunities for himself or to avoid Johnson's big overhand left?
I think he's doing it to avoid Johnson's overhand left, and maybe he's trying to out-jab Johnson.
Right, back it up, gentlemen. Get up.
And use his height and reach.
That's an advantage.
Body punches by Johnson. Reggie Johnson comes from the same forbidding 5th Ward of Houston that nurtured one George Foreman. In fact, his father, Ron Johnson, was a contemporary of Foreman's on the streets at the time when George was the neighborhood bully, known to everyone as Monk. Reggie's dad was one guy that George said he wouldn't beat up because he was a good athlete in other sports, and George respected his chance to make it out of the neighborhood playing football.
Watch it, baby. All right.
Yeah, that right jab is more effective than anything else that Taylor has done. He's landed 4 or 5 pretty stiff ones on Johnson in this round.
And that's why I think he turned to southpaw.
Johnson landing his own right jab. Taylor trying to step up the tempo with the right jab and doing a better job now than he did in the second round of bringing it back. Hard body shots by Reggie Johnson. Taylor pointing to his hip to let the referee know that he felt he caught one below the belt.
That jab is bothering Johnson a little bit.
And if you punch out, let him go, Will. Let him go, Will. Punch out. Right, back it up. Will, stay focused. Get him up. Let's go. That's a 10.
Little right hook from Will Taylor landed. And the jab starts to create a little distance between Taylor and Reggie Johnson. Check out the latest Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. Running now among the stories, a look at who won and who lost in the new NBA labor agreement. We'll show you the big money competition between Disney and Fox in the world of sports television. Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, airing Sunday, February 28th on HBO.
Come over the top of the left, okay? No more punches in the body, Reggie. Side to side, okay? Be careful with the giant's top on now. A little bit, why you stay confused a little bit. Relax. All coming out.
Here's that long right jab. Taylor sticks on Johnson.
Let's go, Blue. Say your corner.
By CompuBox numbers, Taylor landed 21 punches in round 3. 17 of them were jabs. Now, surprisingly, go ahead, Larry.
I was just going to say, what's the use of being 6'3" if you can't jab?
And Taylor looking a lot more confident now as he begins to snap and land the right jab with greater regularity. Opposite side of the coin is that Reggie Johnson looks a little bit more tentative now as he tries to figure out what it is he wants to do against Taylor in a southpaw stance.
He knows what he wants to do. It's just that it's going to take him a little bit more time to set it up than he thought it would.
There's the hard left hand for Reggie Johnson. Stuns Taylor, and Johnson follows up, looping with another left hand, but missing behind the head.
Well, you knew Reggie as a middleweight. Some people have said he's actually a better fighter at this weight. What are your views on that?
I think he is because, for one, the pace is a little slower. He always had a laid-back type of a style. He never was a real aggressive fighter. So at 175, it fits his style a lot more because he can fight that laid-back type of pace and be quicker than most guys still.
Remember, there's still a 15-pound difference between middleweight, where Reggie held his previous title at 160, and light heavyweight at 175. There is a weight class in between, 168, so Reggie, in effect, jumped 2 weight classes.
Yeah, but he had a long layoff, too. And as you grow, as your body matures, once you start to reach your 30s, your body starts to spread out more. So I don't think it's a problem because he brought his puncher power up to 175 with him.
Long layoff because, like so many in the sport, Reggie Johnson feuded with 2 consecutive promoters over how to structure his career, whom to fight and win. When he got sent to Argentina 3 times in 4 fights and lost 3 controversial split decisions there, he said enough of this, and wound up spending 2 years out of the ring, getting out of the contract. Little quick right hand inside for Johnson. Taylor's jabs have been a little bit sparser in this round ever since he got countered by the left hand earlier in the round.
This fight might be called body work by Johnson. He's landed a lot of shots on that long, lean body of Taylor.
And every time Taylor tries to throw more than one punch, he overshoots his opponent. He's not gauging himself correctly.
Johnson more aggressive now as he begins to solve the taller puzzle of Taylor in the southpaw stance. And if you're one of those who thinks that Reggie Johnson is a better fighter as a light heavy than he was as a middleweight, this may be the moment that convinced you it's the case. Uncasville, Connecticut, February 6, 1998. William Guthrie trying to angle for a shot at Roy Jones, heavily favored to beat Johnson until that right hook. Perfect, classic right hook starched Guthrie. He was unconscious before his head hit the canvas, and it was the classic one-punch knockout for Reggie that vaulted him immediately into title status and contendership against Jones.
Excellent round, Reggie. Excellent round. Fight coming up. They won every round. Won every round. Every single round, baby.
Not sure he has won every single round. We'll check Harold Letlin's card in just a second. You could certainly make the case that Taylor won round 3, but we'll show you in a moment how Harold sees it. In fact, go right ahead, Harold.
Jim, I think he won every single round.
Okay.
40-36, 4 rounds to nothing, Reggie Johnson. Jim, I'll tell you something. You know, I always talk about ring generalship. This is nice ring generalship. The little guy, he bobs and weaves, gets out of the way of Taylor's shots, then he moves in, gets off a good right jab, or a good straight left hand, and gets out of there before Taylor can hit him. He's also good defense. He's blocking a lot of Taylor's shots, but watch the way he moves in and out, fighting like a champion. Gets in there, gets a shot off like that, gets the heck out.
Many judges are more impressed with power shots than they are with jabs, and through 4 rounds, CompuBox numbers show Reggie Johnson with a 43-22 edge in landed power shots. And now Taylor goes back to his conventional stance.
Yeah, he's throwing punches with his head straight up in the air. Sooner or later, Johnson's going to catch him.
So 3 rounds, 3 rounds Will Taylor spent in the southpaw stance. Rounds 1 and now 5, he fights in his normal conventional stance.
So he's gone back to plan A.
Wouldn't be surprised if he switches throughout the bout trying to keep Johnson off balance, and now Reggie switches into a conventional stance himself. And switches back. This is what's called a scouting report, Roy. They're showing you every single thing they can do so far.
Well, I don't scout anybody. I don't have no reason to scout on nobody because people fight people different, If I had the one of them in there with me right now, they'd probably be fighting a totally different fight.
Body shots by Reggie Johnson.
Break it up.
Taylor, who wasn't terribly active out of his conventional stance in round 1, not terribly active out of his conventional stance in round 5. Lands a right hand to the body here. And pushes Johnson back into the ropes to fire at the body again.
Taylor seems more effective when they're at close quarters.
And usually the shorter guy has the advantage inside because his arms are smaller and he can work them better.
Back it up. Go.
We're going to look at a lightweight in the next fight, 6'1" Cesar Bazan, who also likes to fight inside despite his long arms and range advantage.
And he's an excellent inside fighter.
That's the 10.
Is Cesar Bazan.
That's the 5.
This is a peculiar round for Johnson, who seems to be trying to set something up.
And Taylor finishes the round by glaring at Johnson, then glaring at Lampley, Jones, and Merchant, and then walking back to his corner.
Put the pressure on him, son. Put it on him. Look, you got to work the jab and go and try. Squeeze and forward. Let this guy feel some power in there. Let him feel some power in there, baby.
Fisher talking to Will Taylor in the far corner. Chata Robles talking to Reggie Johnson here. Round 6. It's scheduled for 12. Taylor in the conventional stance again as round 6 begins.
Let the hands go. Hands punch out. Hands. Let's go. Break. Back it up. Break. I got you. Back it up. Back it up. Let's go. Let's go. Get him up. Stay focused. Break. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up.
Good left hand by Reggie.
Straight left hand again. And Johnson looking straight at the body as he fires there.
He's looking to set up the overhand left right now, Jim.
Feinting with the right hand, waiting to see what Taylor will do.
Break, back it up, break, back it up.
Fight in which both fighters attack only sporadically, trying to work off the other man's momentum and disadvantages.
Break, back it up, break. Back it, back it, back it. Get it clear, he's no clear.
Hard right hand body shot by Taylor. Doesn't throw his left jab nearly as often as he did his right jab, and that's not terribly surprising because when he's in his conventional stance, working against a southpaw, the left jab is much more difficult to land.
And much more dangerous to throw because he's so much closer to the opponent.
Let him go.
Again, they trade body shots at close range.
That was the overhand left I told you Johnson was trying to set up.
And Johnson goes left to the body, left upstairs.
Punch out, punch out.
Lands the left hand flush again on Taylor's face. If he can get a little bit more Christmas on that punch, he might have a party.
Let the arms go, let the arms go. Punch out there.
And still to come, lightweight Stevie Johnston, who was unbeaten last summer before he lost for the first time to Cesar Bazan and lost with it his lightweight world championship. Will try to get it back. warming up outside in the parking lot right now, live here at Miccosukee Gaming Reservation, right on the edge of the Everglades outside Miami.
Okay, let's do some of the power with it. Feel real deep. Go with the double shots inside. Double shots inside, baby. All right? You gotta feel some of that power, man. You got the power, baby.
What's up, Casey? It's your title.
Roy, Reggie Johnson said to us yesterday that he had no idea what Taylor had to offer, that he was like a box of Forrest Gump's chocolates. He'd have to wait till he opened the box to see what was there. What do you think he has seen so far?
Well, a tall orthodox fighter or a tall southpaw is going to be hard to catch for Reggie because Reggie's short, and like I said, he has that laid-back style, so he's looking to try to counter when Will does something because that's the best fight for Reggie to fight. I don't think it's nothing that he's never seen before, though.
Well, he's been a professional for 14 years.
Had some very painful losses. I told you about the 3 split decisions down in Argentina, one against John David Jackson, who was a sparring partner for this fight, 2 of them against Jorge Castro, who once took Roy Jones the distance, tough Argentine fighter. He lost to James Toney in a fight in 1991 in which he felt like he had the fight won after 9 rounds, posted in the final 3, and Toney came back to overhaul him and reel him in.
I think that right hook hurt Will Taylor.
Yeah, I think so too. But Taylor is staying right on top of him, trying to clear himself up.
Taylor fighting the 7th round again out of his southpaw stance. So he's now spent 3 rounds, 1, 5, and 6 in the conventional stance, 2, 3, and 4 in the southpaw stance. Back to the southpaw stance for round 7. More and more I get the impression that this isn't improvisation. It was a plan they had in advance to try to throw Johnson off and take advantage of Taylor's height. Just a guess.
I think it's going to prove to be the wrong strategy for Will Taylor because when he changes up, he has to remember what punches he's open for. Reggie already knows what to look for when he changes, but does he know?
Well, it certainly looks as though he has a chance to be more effective offensively out of this stance, the southpaw stance. But I think he also gets hit more in this stance. Fighters here tonight. Go ahead, Larry.
My guess is Reggie Johnson has probably never thrown so many body punches in his whole career as he is tonight.
No, he was a very good body puncher as a middleweight.
Reggie.
Right hand inside for Taylor. Landed, and the second one backed Johnson up. Now Reggie Johnson with a quick right hook of his own. Mentioned all the fighters here tonight. Buster Mathis Jr., Shannon Briggs, Antonio Tarver, a variety of others in the house.
James Page,
one of the world welterweight champions. Not quite on the same page yet with De La Hoya and Trinidad, but hoping to get there.
Yeah, I got you, baby. I got you. Sit down, son.
Sweet.
Will Taylor, I want to see you inside, baby.
Gotta make sure, and when you come over the top of the left, you don't open yourself so wide, okay? Don't open yourself so much. Right here. Come in the light now, please. Come in the light now.
Breathe deep, son. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. Will.
Early in the round, good leaping right hand from Reggie Johnson. But he got nailed a couple of times in the last minute of the round.
Big contact round in round number 7 for Reggie Johnson, given credit by the punch counters at CompuBox for landing 37 out of 63 in that 7th round, by far the biggest offensive round of the fight for either fighter. record, as you can see. Taylor still in the southpaw stance to begin round 8.
Roy, Johnson is throwing so many body punches, even with his jab. Shouldn't Taylor be looking for a way to come over that?
No, Taylor, for some reason, cannot land any big punches from the outside. He only lands big punches when he's in the clinch, and he doesn't throw good punches from out there to the head. He doesn't throw good effective punches to the head from outside. So I think it's safe for Reggie to keep throwing those body shots.
Isn't it usually the other way around?
Yes, it's supposed to be the other way around, but that's not how it is tonight. That's why I say you can't really always look at a guy and just tell what he's going to be.
Johnson still working the body, working the body.
Get off, back off. Back off.
And Taylor's landing some pretty good body shots himself. See that left hand there? There was nothing really on that left. Even if he lands it, it's not going to really do anything to Reggie, I don't think.
Back it up, 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 back it up. We'll move it back up, back it up.
Taylor has a 6'3" frame, but he fights like a guy 5'5". He likes to end fighting.
No punches. I got him, Will. I got him.
A good 1-2 by Johnson.
Right, no punches. Come on, guys. Break it up. Back it up, back it up. Get it clean. Right, no punches. I got you. Back it up.
An ongoing body shot contest. Light heavyweight championship fight. Reggie Johnson in the white trunks from Houston, trained in LA for this fight, fighting Philadelphian Will Taylor.
I think those body shots from Johnson have basically taken any other steam that Will may have had in his long punches out.
So now, most if not all of Taylor's punches from the outside are arm punches without a lot of snap. When he gets close, he can still hurt to the body as he showed there, that right hand.
Yeah, those body shots are really hurting him.
On Boxing After Dark, we don't wear tuxedos. We do stay up a little later, and every once in a while, we will show you a little of the color and pageantry that set this sport apart. That is by way of letting you know that round 9 is coming up.
I thought it meant she was a 9.
That's a matter of opinion, Larry.
Just pick it up. What is it? You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick him up, baby. That's right. Pick it up. What round? Pick it up. Falling behind, son.
Louis Fisher calmly telling Will Taylor that he thinks he's falling behind in the fight. The implication there, Taylor must step up the activity level. After 2 rounds fighting in the southpaw stance, Taylor comes out for round 9 back in his conventional stance. Harold, how do you have it through 8?
Jim, I agree with Louis Fisher. I think he's falling behind. 78, 74, 6 rounds to 2 for Reggie Johnson. You know, I'll tell you something. I thought Will Taylor picked up the pace in 6 and 7, even though, like you said, 7 was a good offensive round for Reggie Johnson. But Will Taylor in the 8th round went to grabbing like he's doing now. Reggie moves in, whacks him in the body with that great right hook, and Will Taylor grabs. And he ain't going to win a title grabbing. Watch him. Will Taylor is holding. Reggie Johnson's killing him to the body.
Punch out, punch out. Punch out. Watch your hands and throw. Punch out.
Johnson slashing away at the increasingly inactive Taylor.
Punch out, punch out.
Round 9 of the scheduled 12. Has there ever been a division that had so many southpaws in it? Everywhere you look in the light heavyweight division, there's a southpaw.
You're right.
I'm sure you would never have grown beyond 160 pounds if you knew that the result would be a steady diet of southpaws.
You never know about me. You know, I don't really care.
Well, you're unconventional enough in your own right that some of the basic rules about fighting southpaws don't apply to you. Another quick right hook for Reggie Johnson as Will Taylor tries to get it working to the body.
Taylor's taken a couple of very hard shots, and he keeps coming back at Johnson.
Yep.
You know, I'm reminded of something that Al Mitchell, the Philadelphia trainer of David Reed, said to me once. He said, if I was fighting somebody from somewhere with a 20-0 record, I'd sleep like a baby the night before the fight. But if I was fighting a Philadelphia fighter with a 3-2 record, I'd toss and turn the whole night. And this Taylor is a tough hombre. He's no easy mark. He doesn't have the skill level of the experience and talent of Johnson, but he's fighting hard. He's taking some hard shots, beating to the body, and here he still keeps coming.
He's fighting very hard. He's very game.
Well, and above and beyond the Philadelphia tradition for tough fighters, Will Taylor's done 3 separate stretches in the joint, 1 for robbery, 2 for probation violations of various kinds. He's totally squared away now, has a wife, is responsible for putting food on the table for 5 children, and he has to be serious about his career. This is it.
And he seems to be serious about it.
Punch out, punch out.
Right hook on top, okay? Left to the body, right hook on top.
If you are looking at the bottom at our upcoming fights, Goyo Vargas, scheduled to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. April 17 in Las Vegas, is not the same as Fernando Vargas, the outstanding 154-pound prospect from Oxnard, California. Goyo Vargas is a former featherweight champion who's moved up a little bit in weight.
Outstanding junior middleweight. What'd you say he was?
World champion, I should say.
There you go, not a prospect.
Absolutely, a world champion at this point. Thank you, Roy. Mayweather was the first of the 1996 Olympic team to win a world championship. Fernando Vargas the second when he knocked out Yuri Boy Campos in a lights-out performance.
Will Taylor seems to be showing a little bit of fatigue here.
Round 10 of a scheduled 12. Taylor, 16 pro fights coming in. Speaking of lights-out performances, within the past couple days here in Miami, a Reggie Johnson bodyguard named Herman Evans, giant man of 330 or so pounds, awoke to the sound of a woman screaming in a nearby motel room, found 3 men who had bound the woman and were holding her in the bathroom of a hotel room while they ransacked and robbed the place. And he, along with the woman's husband, helped police to apprehend all 3 of them and protected the woman from any harm. So the Johnson camp has done its duty for the city of Miami while they're enjoying their brief visit here.
Good right uppercut by Johnson.
Another sign of what a skilled technician Johnson has been throughout his career.
Back it up, Will. I got you. Back it up.
Will Taylor takes a hell of a punch. He's taken a half a dozen shots right on the jaw in this fight.
Taylor trying his own uppercut. Just a little bit short.
He has a big heart.
Reggie Johnson's greater experience and wider array of ring skills, pretty much the difference in the bout.
Back it up. Get off of Will now. Get off. Back up. Watch your head inside, Will. Come on, baby. That's the 10. Break. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Less than 5.
In Will Taylor, you're looking at an exceptionally tall light heavyweight. There's an exceptionally tall lightweight. Cesar Bazan of Mexico warming up now in the parking lot for his battle against Stevie Johnston. Bazan is 6 feet 1 inches tall. Johnston 5'5". Actually, we measured Bazan right at about 6 feet even, so call it a 7-inch height differential, and Stevie Johnson is going to have to work to the body, logic tells you, to get his title back from Cesar Bazan.
Wait a minute, man. Moving to your right. Doing good, doing good. You gotta maintain that pressure. Okay? You gotta maintain that pressure, Reggie. You know, the closing rounds, you gotta finish strong now.
Get your hands off of there, baby.
Knock him out.
Not punching enough on this one.
That's the way to work, baby.
Good piece of advice from the woman who does the cuts in Will Taylor's corner. Knock him out, she said.
Maybe what he needs at this point is to try to knock him out, because I don't think he's doing too well on the scorecards.
And Bowie Fischer has been honest with his fighter about that.
Let him go, Reggie. Let him go, Reggie. Let him go, Reggie.
Right uppercut lands for Will Taylor.
Right, no punch. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Overtake the point. You overtake. All right.
The referee asked him, do you want him to take a point?
Yeah, do you want me to take it? Do you want me to take it?
Well, he thought we were going to say yeah.
What's the right answer? I think not, you know, really. All things considered, given that it could hurt my chances to win the fight. Southpaw stance again for Taylor. Trouble here is if he needs a knockout, he probably have to get it off the front foot.
Back it up. Back it up. Let him go. Come right in.
Unaccustomed as he might be to throwing power shots with the left. Works mostly with the right hand out of this stance, does Will Taylor.
Get him up, Will. Get him up, Will. Back it up, Will. Back it up, Will. Back it up.
A lot of tall, thin guys can't take it.
I want you to back up, Will.
This tall, thin guy can take it very well.
Hard body shot by Reggie Johnson.
Hands free, punch out. Punch out.
Taylor's only been stunned once or twice in the fight.
Back it up. Let him go, Reggie. Let him go, Reggie. Let's go, Reggie. Break. Let him go. I got you. Break. Back it up. Come on, man. Come on, come right in. Let's go.
Johnson stepping into a body shot and landing one of his own.
That's the 10. That's the 9.
They trade jabs. And we will go to the 12th and final round.
heavyweight champions from Philadelphia are in the Hall of Fame. Philadelphia Jack O'Brien, Harold Johnson, Matthew Saad Muhammad. Unless Taylor does something very dramatic here, there will not be a fourth.
And down goes Johnson as Taylor does something at least mildly dramatic.
He caught Johnson a little off balance. It was a clean knockdown. Johnson isn't hurt.
Gives him a chance at a two-point round.
It gives him a chance at a bigger round.
Could make it interesting if the scoring is at all close.
You knocked him down out of the conventional style. Why would you turn southpaw?
Good question. And maybe he just feels more comfortable attacking Johnson out of the southpaw stance after everything that's happened in the fight. Would you say Johnson got careless, Roy Jones?
No, I think he's just off balance.
Of course, even the greatest fighters in the world can be knocked down.
Especially when they're off balance.
I saw Roy Jones go down once in Madison Square Garden against Lou Duval. He was off balance.
Yep. Did you see all the hair he raised after he got up?
Yes, Roy.
Get off.
Reggie Johnson dancing from side to side as Will Taylor stalks and looks for a chance to make it an even bigger 12th round. Already Taylor, seemingly trailing on the scorecards, has scored a knockdown in this round.
Yeah, he's not showing much desperation here, and I think he should be.
Wait, back it up.
Those body shots are really taking it out of him.
Wait, back out you. Back off the Will. Back off the Will. Let's go, Reggie. Let's go, Reggie.
But Taylor showing himself to be a strong, well-conditioned guy. He's going to make it through the 12 rounds against the vastly more experienced Reggie Johnson.
Let's go, Reggie. Punch out.
And we'll see if Johnson had a big enough lead on the scorecards coming to round 12 to make that knockdown immaterial.
Tell you what, Taylor has thrown some very good body shots in his fight himself, man.
Well, Taylor's shown a lot. You know, he may not be Reggie Johnson yet, but he's not William Guthrie either.
No, I think Johnson may have gotten a cut over his eye.
Yep, Johnson's cut over the right eye. And Will Taylor tries to look the part of the winner. And Reggie Johnson makes no such demonstration.
I scored the fight 8 rounds, 3 and 1 even for Johnson. Could be closer than that in the point count.
You give Taylor a 10-8 in the 12th?
Yep.
Great job, baby.
How about you, Harold?
Well, Jim, I've got it 116, 111, 9 rounds to 3, Reggie Johnson. Jim, I'll tell you the truth, I just think he controlled the fight. You know, there's very, very few guys you see, you know, short, stocky guys that are great light heavyweights that, you know, that can really fight. I mean, I can recall Henry Hank, Bobby Ches was a good light heavyweight, Eddie Red Top Owens, but very few. This guy's a good light heavyweight, Reggie Johnson. Moves in, gets them shots off, gets out of there. Not easy to hit. Certainly a world champion. He deserves to win. I think he kept this title. He outfought Will Taylor.
And Chuck Bodak, who had no work to do on cuts throughout the fight, now goes to work on Reggie Johnson's right eye. Let's look back at what happened through the course of the 12 rounds. Round 4, Will Taylor, conventional fighter fighting out of a southpaw stance, got rocked several times by hard left hands from Reggie Johnson, who was able to counter Will throughout much of the fight. Then in the later rounds, Johnson went to a body-based attack, pounding away at Taylor's ribcage and occasionally landing upstairs, usually with counter shots. In the 12th round, however, Taylor, fighting out a conventional stance, caught Johnson with a short right hand and deposited him on the seat of his pants. But immediately, as Roy Jones pointed out, switched back to his southpaw stance and spent the rest of the round mostly pawing at Johnson. Fascinating.
I love you, friend.
That's for his wife, Francisca. Harold Letterman pointing out before the fight that after the controversial events here in December, the Miccosukee Indians decided to form their own boxing commission and take this out of the hands of the state of Florida. Right now, one thing that has led to is slower reporting of the scores. So we're waiting. And you mentioned before the fight, Roy, that the job for either or both fighters is to create the kind of public groundswell of pressure that would make it fun, exciting, meaningful for boxing fans for you to fight one of these guys. I'm not sure that happens. Certainly Reggie Johnson is a thorough professional. And certainly Will Taylor's a tough guy. All right, let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Mark Streisand scores the bout, 115 to 112. Peter Trematera scores the bout, 114 to 113. Kassan Cheeks has it, 115 to 112 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still champion, Sweet Reggie Johnson.
Punch stat numbers show a 45-punch edge in landed shots for Reggie Johnson. They threw about the same amount. 9% differential in connect percentage for Reggie Johnson. It was, from the early rounds on, not really a jab fest, but rather a battle of power punches, mostly body shots. And here you can see that Johnson had the edge there, landing 38 more power punches, throwing 27% or 27 more, and landing at a higher connect percentage, 9% margin. Now let's go up to Larry Merchant with the winner.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Reggie. That was a tough 12th round. You come out with a bad cut on your brow, knocked down. What happened?
Well, that was a legitimate knockdown, but I was off balance, Larry. First, I'd like to say thanks to my creator. I'd like to thank everybody who supported me up to this point. I know my kids are going crazy watching. Will Taylor came to fight. You know, when I was off for the 2 years, I stayed in the gym. But this particular time, you know, I had a rotator cuff surgery, and I guess I wasn't as sharp. You know, I couldn't go right back to the gym after my last fight. But, you know, I can't take anything away from him. He came to fight. He came to win. And I think my experience played a very important role.
All right, let's watch this tough Philadelphia fighter.
Tough Philadelphia.
In the 12th round, and you describe what you see.
Well, is this where I got knocked down? Yeah, I was slipping, as you see. I was going back, but, you know, it was a legitimate knockdown. He hit me as I was off balance, and I went down. I give him full credit for that knockdown. And you know something, that ain't the first time I've been down.
All right, you had 8 months off after your rotator cuff surgery. Any trouble with the right arm after that surgery tonight?
No, I can't complain at all. I had great doctors, Dr. Rex Vakiva, Dr. Provenzano did a hell of a job, and they whole staff with the rehab. They wanted me to go every 3 days. I went every day. I wanted to get back that bad. But, you know, that whole thing was a process. I have, you know, my shoulder's fine, just a little rusty.
All right. That shoulder injury kept you from fighting Roy Jones last year. Now you've got a gash on your eye. Are you concerned that might interfere with a fight with Roy later this spring?
How can I be concerned? I got the best cut man in the world right here, Chuck Bodak. You know, this will be healed in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks.
Is that right, Chuck?
Yeah. He's the boss.
You're the best cut man in the world, right?
If you say so.
Or Reggie Johnson said.
All right, Reggie, tell us about your desire to fight Roy Jones and unify the light heavyweight titles, just as the heavyweight title will be unified in a couple of weeks.
Well, let me first, I want to say I have a lot of respect for Roy Jones as a fighter. I have extra respect as a businessman. This ain't about Roy Jones or Roy Jones. This is about Roy Jones, the fighter. He's the man right now. I just think that, you know, we can't deny we must unify history. They haven't been unified since Leon Spink. And I know that I'll be successful in that fight. I have a legitimate chance of winning that fight. You know, Roy knows he's going to be the toughest fight of his career, and likewise the toughest fight of Reggie Johnson's career.
That sounds like a good fight. Jim?
I want to thank
all right, thanks very much, Larry, and thanks, Reggie. One thing you can take as a given, if two guys are fighting for the right to meet Roy Jones, the southpaw is going to win. Unified title means something to you?
Unified title always means something to everybody. And, you know, with me, a title period means something to me, so it doesn't really make me any difference.
Reggie Johnson have the credentials for a shot at Roy Jones?
Most definitely. Reggie Johnson already had the credentials for a shot at Roy Jones. There are not many guys in today's time that really have the credentials, but he is one guy that is really worthy because he's a great guy. He's a great champion. He's been a champion for a good while. And, you know, HBO knows how to make it worth Roy Jones' time and make Roy happy, and they know Roy, he's ready to go.
Totally agreed on every point. Still to come tonight, the lightweight battle for the championship held by Cesar Bazan. The opponent, Stevie Johnston, whose only loss in his career was to Bazan last summer. Johnston with revenge on his mind. Let's look ahead to some upcoming programs here on HBO Sports.